Hello, this is Noreen Crone-Findlay from to+video.com. Today, this video is going to be showing you a couple of things. The project is little woven butterflies that I like to have lots of them in my pocket so that when I meet someone who just seems like they need a little compassion or kindness, I can just give them a butterfly. Because butterflies are the symbol of hope and transformation. And oh boy, don't we need all the hope that we can get right now. The little butterflies are they're woven on the Chloe Loom. Now, I did a couple of years ago on the saffron loom, a 3-inch butterfly that if you don't have a saffron loom, you can easily use those instructions to make the 3-inch size on the Chloe loom. Now, all the patterns and designs and things that I designed for the saffron loom can all be woven on the Chloe loom, but unfortunately the things on the Chloe loom can't be done on the saffron unless they are specifically for 8 EPI. Anyhow, the technique that I'm going to be using to show you how to weave these little butterflies is a very easy one that I've developed that's very quick, and I call it the traveling warp strand technique. And I'll be using sock yarn. I have done, oh my goodness, I have been experimenting and experimenting. I have woven so many, about 30 or so butterflies to get to the place where I've discovered that the threads and yarns that I most enjoy working with for the butterflies are sock yarn, like what I'm going to use today, or two strands of embroidery floss held together. Number 3, no, I think it's number 5. 2 strands of number 5 DMC cotton, the pearl cotton, held together work really well too. Thicker yarns, you'll need to use a lower DPI comb on the Chloe loom. The 12 DPI is what I have done this project. These particular butterflies are all done on the 12 DPI. The combs I have set 1.5 inches apart. You will need, it's handy to have a weaving needle, so as well as your sock yarn or the here's some number 8 pearl cotton that's a bit light for it, or your embroidery floss, as well as your wing color. You will need some black or a contrasting color for the body. Oh gosh, I left my my body color upstairs. Well, I will just use that'll work just fine, or this blue will work fine for the body for demonstration purposes. So with sock yarn, I just use 1 strand on its own. Now you're going to lay the traveling warp strand into, I like to use the caps on the ends of the beam to hold my yarn in place at the beginning. And I take the end of the yarn over the cap and push it in on the upper beam on the right hand side. Now I'm going to warp my beam, my loom. The upper wing uses 4 sets of warp strands. The lower wings use 3 sets of warp strands. So I'm going to bring my yarn down and up, and I'll go back and forth a total of 4 times. Now, one of the other things that you need is a little steel crochet hook. This one is a 2mm size. I quite like that size. It works really well. Now what I'm going to do is I will take that end down and just pop it into just the corner there. And I'll weave the upper wing first. And so I go under 2 over 2, under 2 over 2. Now I pull, I catch the yarn and coming off the ball, and I pull it through to make a loop. Now I take my hook, I pull the traveling strand through, and I pull up and snug the traveling strand, move it just out of the way, and again I place a loop over my hook, bring the strand through, and pull up. Okay, so that is the way you weave it, those 2 rows. You go under 2, over 2 across for the first row, and then you go over 2, under 2, over 2 for the second row. So you repeat those 2 rows, and you can push your weaving in quite snugly. So repeat those right up to the top, and I'm going to go do that, and then I'll be right back. There, I've woven up to the top of the weaving, to the upper comb, and so now I'm just going to cut off. If I just go a little bit past, knowing that this is the 5-inch loom, if I just go a little bit past, I know that's about 6 inches that I've cut off there. And I'm going to thread the rest of the traveling strand into the loops at the top, and I'm going to pick them up and lift them off, and I'm going to then pull that through. Now I don't want to pull it completely tight there, I want the corner to still be there. I'm going to go around the weft strand that's there, and I'm going to go back through and pull this end up, and then I'm going to take it down through the weaving, go through the outside, that channel there along the edge, to the starting edge of the weaving is down there, and I'm going to go in and kind of twist this one, this first little corner loop, and go through, and then I want to twist the other corner loop, because the 2 corner loops on that row tend to bump out just that little bit more than you really want them to. And then I'm going to go back in up the channel, just because I want to get this back to the middle. This looks more like the middle, and I will bring that out at the middle. And now I'm going to use my longer needle, it's just a bit easier, and I'm going to slip the eye of the needle in this edge and fold the tail end of the yarn over to make it easier to take in, and pull it out. So now both ends are coming out at the middle of the upper wing. Now we're going to weave the lower wing. Now the upper wing uses 4 sets of warp strands. The lower wing uses 3 sets of warp strands, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to take my traveling warp strand, over the top of this cap to lock it in place. Go around the lower one up and around the upper peg back into the gap between the next two, into the gap and up and down and into the same gap. Now I take my warp strand out there and just pop it in there loosely. And again, I'm going to weave under over, whoops, take it through, and then capture that strand with the traveling strand, pull it up firmly, and I just keep pulling up and making a loop and putting the crochet hook through the loop. Then I use the hook to catch the traveling strand. I pull it up and I ease the weft strands back. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the upper wing. For the lower wings, I'll just weave from the lower comb up to the upper comb, and then I will come back. Okay, so the lower wing is now, or lower set of wings, is now woven up to the upper beam, the combs. And I just wanted to mention that when you're weaving your rows, I like to kind of push down on the warp strands, and I also then will snug my crochet hook against my previous, against the foul line, against the previous woven rows, to just kind of push them in as you're weaving, so it makes it kind of an automatic snugging in. You're not weaving a true weft face fabric, and it's not a true tabby, because completely weft face makes it too dense to be doing the shaping. So you'll find, just as you do them, you'll find your perfect sweet spot. I'm going to lift the top row off by picking up the 3 stitches, and so I've got them off. Did I go? I kind of split my yarn there, so I'm going to go back and pick them up again. Now the lower wings, the tips of the lower wings, need to be rounded somewhat. So see how I brought my weft, my traveling warp strand is in the needle right now, and I brought it around that weft strand just to catch that in there, and I'm just going through again. I'm not going to pull that up tight. I've just got it shaped like this, and I'm going to go down to the other end, to the starting end, and I'm going to pick up these stitches on the lower end, and this guy I kind of snug in. Okay, and now I'm going to go up the outside. Sorry if I drifted out, please don't yell at me. Going to go up and bring this strand out at the middle, and I will pick up the end of that's the weft strand that came off the ball, and you bring that to the center as well, and that kind of, by snugging them ever so slightly like that, that is going to give you the curves that you want for the lower wings. And now I'm going to do a surgeon's knot to lock these two ends in place at the middle. So for the surgeon's knot, you go over and under and through twice for the first half of the knot, and then over and under once for the second half of the knot, and that locks that nice and snug. And I'm going to do the same thing with the ends from the upper wing. So I take the shorter end, I go over, under, in and through twice, and that's the first. Don't pull up on me there, little one. That's the first half of the knot, and here's the second half. And the reason why you want to lock your ends is because you don't want them pulling up that away when you are doing the shaping of the butterfly. Now I'm going to take and weave my short end in. Just take it up a channel and then go back and take it down in, and that should bury your ends in there. And if it hasn't all the way, then just snip that end off. Okay, so that end, the upper wing, I'll move this guy out of the way. The upper wing now just has one strand coming off of it, and I'm going to do the same thing on the lower wing. I'm going to take that end in, come out this way. I have to re-thread it because it pops out when you come through it, and then go over and take it down and in, and there you go, it's buried. Now what you're going to do next is you're going to make the division between the two lower wings, and you do that. I fold it in half and give it a squeeze so I can see where I want it to go, and I'm going to go around a couple of times, and then I'm going to loop through and pull that up like so. So you can see we've shaped the lower wings. Going to do the same thing with the upper wing now. Let me just make sure I'm right smack dab in the middle. Give it a bit of a pinch to it. Yep, I am. Okay, and now I go around once and twice, and then the second time what I'm doing here now, sorry, if I drifted out, I should do that again. I get so busy watching what I'm doing that I drift away out of camera range. So I go around once, and then the second time I come over my finger and take the loop through, and now I pull up, and there's my upper wings shaped. And now what you do next is you take your upper wings and you hold them slightly in front of your lower wings, and you're going to do that same wrapping that you did on each set of wings, but this time what you're going to do is you're going to go around a couple of times with the upper wing strand, and then you just pull up on the upper wing strand, and you just keep kind of pinching and folding. Pinch and fold to shape, pinch and fold, and then you wrap a few times with the upper strand goes down and around, the lower strand goes up and around. Okay, and then you will do that same surgeon's knot. Over, under, through, over, under, through, pull up. And that's the first half of the knot, and your second half locks it. Now, there we go. And you can take and thread your ends into the middle strand of the lower wing and pull that out and snip it off. And do the same thing with the other strand. Now, the black thread or yarn that you use to shape the body can be black embroidery floss, black sock yarn, black, in this case, I just grabbed off my shelf a cone of black, slightly boucle-ish knitting machine cotton. There, I just want to, and then I want to give my corners here a bit of a pinch up, the upper corners. Now, I'm going to take the thickness of your black body yarn will determine how long a piece that you cut. If it's like a knitting machine weight or sock weight, then you'll just use like one strand that's about 12 inches long. But because this is quite light, I'm going to fold it in half and use 2 strands held together, but I'll treat them as if they are a single strand. And that's about 12 inches or 30 centimeters. Now, you will leave, these become the body and the antenna. So leave a good 4 inches, 10 centimeters off the top edge. And pinch this to your butterfly, and to make the body, it's easy peasy. You just wrap the body. You've given yourself the base of the body by doing the wraps with the yarn from the butterfly wings. And now you're going to make that same surgeon's knot, but at the top between the upper 2 wings up here. So I've gone over under once. I'm going to go over under one more time and pull it down to the body, and then I will lock it in place with the second half of the knot. So that is now locked to the body. And I always tie a knot. If you're going to, let me just preface that by saying, okay, if you're going to be like gluing this to a journal cover or a card, you might want to glue your antenna down, separately that way. But mostly what I do is I tie another knot at the top end of the antenna, and I do that by taking the crochet hook, and I take all the ends over and I catch them with the crochet hook and I pull them through, and then I pull up tight, boom boom boom, with my fingernail against it, my thumbnail against it, and then I will snip off those ends. Just a minute, I'm just going to go do that over there, so those ends are snipped off. And then what I like to do is to, if I'm going to hang it in a plant, I hang it just like this. But when I give them to people, I put a little brass safety pin in this so that they can pin it to their lapel or their bag or their hat or wherever they want. And so that is how I make the little woven comfort butterflies. And like I said, I have made quite a lot in the process of developing the pattern, and I would like to hope that you will also make a whole lot of them, because they're really pretty, and gosh, don't we all need that transformative energy of butterflies right now? I do. So here's to butterflies, here's to weaving, and here's to connection and joy and all good things. So, oh, you can get the Chloe Loom at Mirrix.com. And they have the Lily Doll project, which is a wonderful thing that I've developed, and it's ongoing. So that's there. And you can find this and lots more patterns and projects on my blog, which is toddytalkscrafts.com. And also you can find me at Noreen Crone-Findlay on Instagram. So happy weaving, everyone. And here's to butterflies. Hugs and kisses. Bye. Be well. Be kind.